Between the two of us, we've spent over 20 years in restaurants. And today we're gonna make a dish and a cocktail perfect for all of your summer pool parties.
The goal is for us to show you some of the industry secrets we picked up along the way, so you can prep party goods the day before and soak up some sun the day of. Check out our tricks of the trade.
So I wanted to help you prepare a dish that you can do in advance, and so it's a really hands-off and hard to mess up recipe, which is perfect when you're entertaining because you want to be having a drink or jumping in the pool. We're gonna have a teriyaki pulled pork taco with a homemade tortilla and an Asian slaw on the top. Today we're going to prepare a smoked pork butt. It might be a little daunting to look at a piece of meat this size, but it's super, super easy. We're going with Hawaiian themed teriyaki pork, which is a little bit different. I think most people look at a pulled pork and automatically want to put barbecue sauce on it, but we're gonna kind of take it in a different direction. Mustard, any kind of mustard you have in your refrigerator, it's very acidic and helps tenderize the meat. We're gonna rub down the entire pork with some mustard. It will not flavor at the end. You're not gonna have a mustard flavored teriyaki.
And talking about the cut, so this is a pork butt.
Yes.
It doesn't look like a butt. Why?
Anything that says a pork butt or a pork shoulder is what you're looking for.
And the pork butt and pork shoulder, are they the same thing?
It's all from the same muscle of a pig, but a pork butt is actually from like the top part of the muscle and a pork shoulder is from the bottom. A pork butt has a little bit more marbling in it and a bigger fat cap on the top.
So don't worry, you're not cooking a pork's butt.
As far as your spices go, you can open up your cupboard and see what you have. You wanna do like 2 tablespoons of salt and 2 tablespoons of pepper, pretty even. And you can go hefty on the seasoning because it'll really help create a nice bark on the pork when it's finished. Since we're going a little bit more Asian forward, I've got some ground ginger, some allspice, and some granulated garlic. So we're gonna add some paprika. I think the biggest difference of like a professional chef and cooking at home is people are scared to use a lot of seasoning. Just make sure you get the seasoning and all the nooks and crannies, and don't be shy about it. Let it hang out for another 30 minutes before we add it to the smoker.
There's nothing I can taste yet, right?
No, not yet.
That's too bad. But soon?
Almost.
How long are we talking?
The pork is gonna cook for 12 hours.
12 hours. So today I'm gonna be making a Mai Tai. I feel tropical tiki style cocktail, perfect cocktail for a pool party. We're also used to cocktails made to order, which means you're making 1 or 2 cocktails at a time. But you can actually batch big portions of cocktails that will be just as delicious as those cocktails made to order. So Mai Tai is a really simple recipe. Start with your perfect blend of rums, and then you go for Curacao, which is an orange liqueur, the Orgeat, which we're making, and then just fresh lime juice. And something that makes the Mai Tai so unique is the syrup in it, and it is called Orgeat. Orgeat is gonna only consist of 2 ingredients today. We're using almond milk, and then I'm using orange blossom honey.
I've never made a syrup with a milk before. So after this is, made, what is the drink gonna look like?
There are a few tiki cocktails that do come out really pretty, and you'll see those in clear glassware a lot. But these tiki mugs exist to hide cocktails that taste delicious, but are ugly. So when I make syrups for cocktails, I really like using a sous vide. When you do it on the stovetop, you run the risk of reducing your syrup too much. And so when you're cooking it at a lower temperature and at a steady temperature in the sous vide, you're gonna have a lot more control over the outcome of your syrup. So we're starting this recipe with an agricole rum. It is distilled from sugarcane juice.
Did you wanna?
Yeah, I'll definitely taste some. I don't want to taste that one.
This is going to be the primary spirit ingredients in our batch. So now we're going to English style rums from the French style of rums. So we're going to the island of Jamaica. I really like this Hamilton Dark. It's got a little bite to it. It's got a really nice, creamy, rich mouthfeel. and it kind of tastes like overripe bananas in the best way. And this is gonna be an especially fun Mai Tai because we are using spirits from 3 different countries in this. Curacao is a type of orange actually. So it's a type of orange that is native to the Caribbean. And so that's why you often find, so it's an orange liqueur made specifically with a Curacao orange. My insides are pretty heated up at this point.
You had a couple shots of it before.
Not a couple, maybe like 1. And now we are adding 10 ounces of this Curacao to our Mai Tai batch. So I'm gonna add 20 ounces of water to this batch actually. These things don't naturally want to taste good together, and dilution is what makes all the flavors kind of create that like
come
marriage.
Together.
Yeah, really come together.
Now that our pork has been seasoned for about 30 minutes and the smoker's up to 250 degrees, we can go put this outside.
And about how long do we know to smoke the pork butt for?
So the rule of thumb is about 90 minutes per pound. We're gonna get everything else ready, which you can totally do the day before and just store it in your refrigerator. We're gonna make an Asian slaw. He's gonna finish up the limes for the Mai Tais. Really, you can use whatever you can find in your refrigerator as far as hearty vegetables go. So don't limit yourself to these ingredients that I have. I like to go all the way around and you kind of roll it out. So you can cut that pith out and keep it in one solid motion. So then you have a clean pepper. And then I just do like a thin chiffonade. Since it's marinating overnight, you don't need to be like extremely thin. There's no need to weigh out every cup. A ratio is like, you want it mostly cabbage for your slaw, and then add in, if you really like onions, do a full onion. And if your onion's a little bit chilled and your knife is really sharp, you will cry less.
That is such a game changer.
I've heard rumors that if you keep a wet towel next to the cutting board, it helps because like the moisture, it goes to wherever there's moisture, those odors that make your eyes burn. And you basically want to massage the salt in. It's probably 1 tablespoon of salt, and it's going to draw all the moisture out of here and actually keep the vegetables super crunchy. All right, so now on to the sauce. The tricks to a perfectly balanced meal of whatever you're cooking or even drinks is salt, sugar, fat, and acid. So I've just added rice vinegar and some honey to sweeten it. We're gonna season it with a little bit of pepper and salt and then mayonnaise. So this is gonna be the base of the coleslaw. And you're just gonna wanna whisk it together to emulsify. A dash of soy sauce. So I like to add my herbs to this dressing too, just for a little bit of flavor. And we're gonna use green onion, cilantro, and sesame. So we're just gonna add this all in and incorporate it, wrap it up, and refrigerate it.
My syrup should be pretty close to done. We're just gonna take it out, and you'll just kind of like massage it and it should incorporate. We just want to cool it down to stop the cooking. We don't want the almond milk to keep cooking. We don't want the honey to keep cooking. And then we're going to start batching the rest of the cocktail. We'll get this and the citrus in last.
All right, while we're waiting for the syrup to cool down, we're doing the glaze for the smoking pork butt. So it's super simple. We're doing a teriyaki sauce. So we're going to do about a cup of soy, Hoisin. Hoisin is like a sweeter soy. We're gonna put this on the last 30 minutes of the pork cooking, and the sugar and all of these components will help caramelize on the outside of the pork. Putting this in there now will help bloom the sesame seed and like really get that flavor out. 30 minutes before the meat's done cooking, we're gonna unwrap the pork and glaze it, and the heat will help caramelize on the outside of the pork.
Don't want any of the solids from the citrus in your cocktail. So you're just gonna pour your citrus through a fine mesh strainer. And so I've got my orgeat all ready to go, and I'm actually just gonna go straight into the batch with this. I'm measuring on a scale, and I'm gonna do 10 fluid ounces. All right, and then I have one more ingredient I'm gonna add. This is one that I made in advance. It's a rich, simple syrup. Just add 5 ounces. And I'm gonna give that a little whisk, and I'm gonna throw it back in the freezer.
We basically have all the components for the tacos except for the vessel. So we're gonna make some homemade tortillas. It's just 4 ingredients. And if you have a tortilla press, all the better. Otherwise, you can roll it out with a rolling pin. We're gonna do 3 cups of flour. Got 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, just 1 cup of milk, and then
Do you want some more shot? We could try your shot too, see how that goes.
all right, 1 cup of water and a 1/3 cup of olive oil. So traditionally, you would use lard. So for like 1 minute or so, you just want to knead it. You're just gonna fold it over itself and push it together till it's nice and smooth. After this, we'll let it sit for 20 minutes to let the gluten form. All right, so we let the dough rest for about 20 minutes covered, and this amount of dough will make 12 tortillas. We're gonna portion it up. You can actually use a lot of pressure to form little balls. Those are very different.
Are they? Dibs on the bigger one.
Okay, so push down harder than you think.
Okay.
And in a circle.
In a circle?
Yeah, do you see how it kind of comes together? No.
No.
Yeah.
Did it?
You want to keep the bottom on the bottom.
Okay, I hear that.
Cover them up, and we're gonna test one out. So I press this, and as you can see, it all sprung back really tight, which means it just hasn't rested enough. The gluten is still too tight. Our tortillas have been portioned, and then they've been sitting for another 20 minutes. They're super soft and pliable. We're just gonna roll them out with a little bit of flour and a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you could use a wine bottle. So you just wanna roll it out till it's thinner than you think it should be, because it will spring back a little bit. So cast iron works best. You can use completely dry pan, no oil or anything, and it should be ripping hot, so it'll smoke a little bit up. If you guys really want some home cooking, I would be over there with like a towel, my fire alarm. I always feel like a tortilla is like a pancake. The first one is never as good as the rest of the batch. Yeah. And really, you'll get the color on the other side when you flip it. And yeah, the thing is, it doesn't have to be a circle. Nobody cares.
Let's see how it goes.
It's not on.
Let's see how it goes. There we are.
Don't poke it.
I really just want to see what it's doing under there. My first
Oh my.
tortilla in all of its glory. So we've got our tortillas done, we've got our slaw done, cocktails ready to go, but we are still waiting on the pork in the smoker.
So after putting the pork in overnight, when we wake up in the morning, we will go check it out and take the temperature at about 170. We can spritz it with a little bit of apple cider vinegar to tenderize it. And we're gonna wrap it with foil, bring it up to temperature to 205, which should be right at party time. All right, now that all of our guests are here, all they have to do is grab a tortilla, put a little bit of pork in there, our homemade coleslaw and pineapple, and then garnish with some fresh cilantro and teriyaki, and they're good to go.
First, we're gonna put crushed ice in the tiki glass to the top of the tiki glass. We're gonna fill the glass up with the Mai Tai batch, but if you do have some garnish, just throw a little mint on top, throw a lime wheel into the glass, and you're good to go. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Hopefully along the way, we're able to pick up some of those tricks to make a perfect summer pool party. And if you liked any of the kitchen tools you saw us using, there'll be links to all of those in the description section below.
And if you want to learn more tricks of the trade, like and subscribe so we can keep sharing the hottest industry tips. Thanks again for checking this out, and we will see you all soon.
Oh, wow! Just, explosions!